Welcoming Will Brooks back to the program. I'm confused, folks. Don't take this as an unprofessional way, but I had to ask Will if he was still the champ for the weight class in Bellator, because the way the press release that I got, it's like Marcin Held is the champ. Like they're promoting him more than they are the champ. I'm a little confused.
Yeah, honestly I don't even know, man. I haven't really been paying attention. I had a couple weeks ago. I went on a little bit of a Twitter rant, and I lost my cool, and I said a few things. And you know what, man? I'm starting to realize that this sport is not. It's not so much about the fighters, being comfortable, being happy anymore. I've started to understand it is moving more towards a corporation, a business, and making money. And I'm focusing on just me. I haven't really focused on them promoting this fight. It's their job to promote this fight. It's my job to go out there and fight and win.
They're your mom had to talk to you after one Twitter rant, right?
Yeah.
So you still get that little 8-year-old, Will Brooks pops out. It's like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I know I was wrong. Does that still pop out when she yells at you? You're kind of more of a man about it, but still have to be respectful.
Yeah, no, I mean it's kind of half and half now. It's my mom. When she walks in a room, she doesn't even have to be in the same room. As if I hear her voice, I stop doing whatever I'm doing to go say hi to her, give her a hug, give her a kiss, whatever. And it's kind of the same thing, but when it comes to my job and what we do in this sport, and she has an understanding that I am an adult, but at the same time, it's understanding that it's certain language that I don't really need to be using, and she understands that, and she just tries to approach it and let me know that I need to tone down the things that I say, because there are young children that follow me as fans, and I can't be telling them not to be doing something and then turn around and do it myself. So that was more what she was trying to say to me and get that through to me.
So what are you saying now to Bellator? Because now it's a business. Your mom gets it. She understands that sometimes you have to be a little vocal and use some weird language, but you're going to tone down your language because you do have young followers. But now it's a business, and you understand that now. It's got nothing to do with the health or the safety of the fighters. Really, it's really about what can the promotion get from you. That's what it's all about now. So what are you doing to help Will Brooks by helping out Bellator?
Well, what I'm doing and I'm going to be honest about this, and I'm going to put it out there. I'm not in the business of helping Bellator. More power to them as far as success, of having success on their cards and using me as a tool to help themselves. But I'm in a business of helping myself right now, helping myself, my fiance, my child that's on the way, my family, and making sure that I can put myself in a position where I'm living a comfortable life and supplying the lifestyle that I can for my child. So that's the business that I'm in right now. And one thing that I'm trying to do is I'm actually taking my business after long discussions with my fiance and really trying to get my mind wrapped around things. Is I want to take my business into the free agency after my contract is up with Bellator. I believe I have, if my math is right, I believe I have 3 fights in maybe 11 or 10 months, whichever comes first. So I believe after this contract is up, I'll be moving into free agency. I'll be taking my business and putting it out there, and whoever's willing to bid on it and give me what I feel like my business deserves, and I'll be willing to take those offers into consideration. And that goes for Bellator also. If they want to reach out and offer me something that makes me feel like, hey, you know what, you guys are deserving to keep my business as far as financial things go, then I might be back with Bellator. But I'm taking all offers.
What's the matching period at the end of your contract? Usually, big companies like this have a matching period. I've heard it in the past. It's been 30 days. So let's just say best case scenario, UFC comes calling, gives you an offer. Bellator has 30 days to match it. When it comes out at the end of your contract. Do you know what your matching period is?
No, I'm not 100% sure about what that is, but my manager has talked to me about that, and we have had several discussions. Once I made the decision that I was going to be going into the free agency, I made sure I got on the phone and talked to him and let him know what's going on, and I'm sure he's going to let me know once we get closer to my contract being done, and he'll let me know what's up.
You called your manager and told him, hey, this is what we're going to do. This wasn't a decision between you and your manager and your coaches and your training is basically a decision between you and your fiance. That's the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it is, man. I'm the captain of my ship. You know, at the end of the day, it's me going in the gym, training every single day, training 6 to 7 hours a day. This is me, going out in that cage, putting my life on the line, putting my safety on the line for this, and I'm the captain of the ship. And my fiance is right there. She's my I don't know what they call the second in charge, but that's who she is. You know, this is my team, and she's been there since day one. You know, and I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for some of the things that she's helped me do. So the only person I have discussions with and run things by is her. And once we decide on something, we go and we express it to everybody else.
You know this whole thing could backfire. I mean, and you're making this announcement now, 10 months before. Like this whole thing could completely backfire on you.
I do understand that, but the one thing is, I've been raised. My father has always taught me that to work with my hands, and I trust my abilities. I trust who I am as a fighter. Nobody's going to stop me from fighting. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's World Series of Fighting, Bellator, UFC, wherever it is, I'll rebuild. I'm not afraid to do that. I don't believe that fighters should be afraid to say, "Hey, I'm going to go into free agency and I'm going to see what I'm worth." This isn't a negative towards Bellator. Bellator is going in a certain direction that they feel like that they want to go into. More power to them. This is just me seeing what I'm worth, you know. And why should we be afraid to say, "Hey, we just want to put ourselves out there, see what Bellator wants to do, see what the UFC does, see what World Series, see whoever, you know, see what we're worth." And you know, like I said, I could end up back with Bellator if they were to offer me something that was something substantial financially. I could end up back with them. So I'm not like, taking them out of the picture, you know.
So you're wearing the Throne right now. You have a Throne hat on. I'm assuming that's one of your sponsors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So UFC comes calling. They give you a number. The Throne's gone. You're Reebok now. You know. But if World Series of Fighting comes calling and gives you a number, you still get sponsors. So you've got that number already figured out of like how much you're making from sponsorship dollars. So you know what the numbers are going to have to be if you lose your sponsors. So does that mean then that the UFC actually has to come in at a higher number than everybody else to make it equal?
We've definitely, this wasn't a decision that we just kind of got together, me and my fiance. Like, she's great with numbers. She's very, very intelligent. She's super smart. She's been educating herself in regards to how contracts work and how money works and different things like that since day one, So she's got a really good idea what we're doing. And, I've got a very good idea. I try to keep myself educated on how things go. I have a certain number that I'm looking for that I feel like I would be worth as an individual fighter as far as the sponsorships and things like that goes. Those things I try not to put too much on those, just because those are going to come and go in regards to our careers anyway. So I try not to put too much on that. And if it was a situation where the UFC was to come looking, you lose sponsors going over into the UFC. And me personally, you know what? I trust my abilities. I trust who I am as a person, as a fighter. I believe that once I get over into the UFC, I have everything it takes to put a strap around my waist. When you're able to do that, then you don't have to worry about so much of the money. Like you start to put yourself in a position where you can make your money and you can make your Reebok money and you can do things outside of the UFC. I think people don't understand that if you work hard, you can get sponsors that are willing to work with you outside of that, if you do it the right way. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm not looking at it as a sponsorship thing. I'm looking at me as a fighter.
Did you hear what you just said? You said, when I get to the UFC, I know I can make things work. You heard that you said that, right? So you're already putting it out there in the universe that that's where you want to go. Like you're already making it. You mentioned World Series of Fighting. You said you might be back with Bellator, but you stated, when I get to the UFC, I know that I can.
No, tricky, man. Tricky, bro. I see what you did there. No, that's not what I'm putting out in energy. I think I just used that just because that's a topic that people are really touching on recently as far as sponsorships and things like that. But that's definitely not what I was trying to do there. But
folks at home, this is how the media twists athletes' words around. And that's what I just did.
That's fine. I mean, I'm definitely prepared for that, And like I said, when I talked to my fiance and I told her that I was going to, just put it out there. And, she expressed to me too, she had a little bit of a concern, being that I do have time left on my contract and, things happen. But, I'm not going to live in that world of fear. I'm not going to live in that position. I've worked very hard to put myself where I'm at today, and I'll continue to work hard. And regardless if it's with Bellator, if it's World Series, again, if it's UFC, it doesn't matter where I'm at. I trust myself and I trust my abilities, and I'm going to keep working.
Well, let's start talking about the future, and let's move on to the present. You got Marcin
Yeah.
Held in front of you. He's the guy that you're waking up every morning. That's the guy you're thinking about every night. He's the guy you're doing your visualization training over. So there's tons of fight footage on this guy. You can see a lot of stuff on him. You kind of know. You've seen him fight before live. You've seen him fight before on tape. You know this guy pretty well from being outside the cage, but watching him compete. How easy of a fight is this going to be?
I don't think it's going to be an easy fight just because for me, I worry about him more than I worried about Chandler or more than I worried about a guy like Dave Jansen because these are guys that you clearly know that they're practicing and working on everything, so you go in there, you see a guy that's well-rounded in everything. But when you get a guy like Marcin Held, who has put all of his focus and his energy and his dedication into one particular aspect, it makes him a lot more dangerous. It makes him he's very committed to that. So he'll roll to a knee bar, he'll roll to an ankle lock, he'll sacrifice himself to get to that one particular thing from any position, from everywhere. So I feel like that's a greater threat. There's no time to get comfortable in that fight. You always have to be focused on where is this guy at? When is he going to roll? When should I be prepared to clear out? Should I get up? Should I move? Should I stay here? Do all these different things, So going into this fight, I am very much focused on this guy, not only because of his skills and what he brings to the table and what I've seen him be able to do, but it's because for me, this is like an audition for me, I look at this fight as, if I'm going to be committed to going into the free agency and all these different things, I'm auditioning for new jobs, and I'm auditioning for Bellator also, to show them, hey, look, I'm worth it. Whatever money I'm looking for, I'm worth it, So I got to go out there and make sure I'm dominating and put on a show and make other people who are outside of the Bellator organization be like, listen, when this guy hits the market, we might want to snatch him up. So that's what I'm really focused on right now.
Personally, I think that Bellator is going to give you an extension. They're going to offer you an extension before your contract's up, and I think they're going to try to meet the numbers that you want, just because of how these things break out. But that's something that's got to be worked out here in the future. I feel like watching Held, and I agree with you that he's focused on one thing. He's going to roll that knee bar, he's going to roll his ankle locks, his heel hooks very, very quickly. It seems like now, the way the sport has become, everybody's very well-rounded. So everybody understands where they're going to go. So when you're playing chess with somebody, and they know everything about the game of chess, you know kind of where they're going to go. You kind of know what's going to happen next. Yeah. But the guy that only trains specifically one specific task and does everything to keep in that task. So he's not going to strike at you as much. He's going to try to defend as much as he can and get a hold of you. He'll jump guard or he'll dive into you hoping you fall down. Either way, he doesn't care. Once it's on the ground, if you shoot and take him down, he doesn't care. He wants to be there. So he'll start to fumble and roll around, and all of a sudden he's in these positions. Those guys are very difficult to predict, and you can't find training partners to act like them because that guy only thinks that way. He's the only one. He's the only person in the entire world that thinks that way. So how's it been trying to get a hold of training partners specifically to meet his style? Are you just going with leg lock guys and telling them just to roll for it all the time? Or are you having to like dumb it down, like having some of your partners dumb down what they do to try to figure out like how this guy's going to maneuver?
You know what? We haven't changed anything. We haven't went out and looked for training partners. We haven't dumbed down anything as far as training partners. I've been doing exactly what I do every single fight. Of course, we take time out to really focus on leg lock escapes, knee bar escapes, ankle lock, all these different escapes and working on these different things. But we also keep it very simple, not try to overload my brain with too much and just focus on who I am as a person and who I am as a fighter, and mix that in with knowing how to escape from these different positions and mix in the timing with it. So what we've been doing, I've been working with Dean Thomas, who's a high-level black belt jiu-jitsu player, and he's a legend of the sport. I've been working directly with him. I've been working with a couple other guys that are in our gym that are high-level leg lock guys, black belts in jiu-jitsu and different things of that nature. And I've got a lot of experience from working with Ricardo Laborio, one of our head coaches there. And my very first fight in Japan was a leg lock guy, so we worked a lot on that. So now we're just refreshing and understanding that I have to be focused on being an athlete, being explosive, finding the time, not allowing him to get comfortable or bait me into something, and being okay with, what, I don't like the way we're scrambling right now. I'm just going to clear out and stand up, and we'll just reset, and that's what we're working on.
I like your thought process, Will, and I like how you're not scared to go, hey, free market's coming, but this fight, this title fight, where I'm the champ trying to maintain my belt is an audition. This is not me defending my title. This is an audition for the free market. And that's a big step. That's huge. Most champs are thinking about, do you ever think that GSP went, hey, I'm this is an audition for the next movie role I want to get? Do you ever think that John Jones, when he was the champ, Cormier, who just fought, was going, oh, this is an audition for the next sponsor I want to get outside the UFC? That's a huge deal.
Yeah, man. I mean, I try to believe that you have to evolve and you have to have a different type of thinking as far as this sport goes, just because it's constantly changing right now. It's coming into more of an entertainment type of deal. So you have to look at it. These promotions are always looking to move pieces around and seeing who's got a style that fits here, who's going to do this, and who can generate numbers and do these different things, And I'm starting to understand that I have to play into that game a little bit. I was trying to fight that idea and just, I'm gonna do my thing, and if they don't like it, then so what? But at the end of the day, it's beneficial to, understand that you are always kind of auditioning, especially even if, let's say I wasn't going to go into free agency, I'm still auditioning with Bellator. I have to say, look, I'm a champion. I've been repeatedly winning. I want a little bit more money. I want this. I want that. So I have to give them reason to want to give me these different things, So I'm going out there, and again, like, I'm auditioning. This is tryouts for me. I'm trying out to put my talents out there, and whatever team, whether, again, if it's Bellator, UFC, or World Series, One FC or whatever, or One Champion, whatever they call themselves now. If they want to pick me up on their team and match what I want as money, as far as money goes, then that's where I'm going to go.
That's Will Brooks getting ready to fight Marcin Held coming up on Bellator 145, November 6th in St. Louis, Missouri. Last question before I let you out of here. As of right now, the time of this interview, they're still battling over Rampage. Is Rampage going to end up in Bellator? Is he going to end up over in the UFC? Rampage has come out and said if he has to go back to Bellator, he won't fight. He'll just retire from fighting altogether, which I don't believe. I believe if he really wants to fight, he'll end up fighting wherever he ends up. My question to you is, does it matter for Bellator to actually have a star, an aging star, starts on the back end of his prime right now, coming into Bellator? Will it do that much for Bellator, especially after seeing the way that Tito Ortiz and his last fight at Dynamite went with Bellator, that the numbers really weren't that good? Does it really matter for Rampage to come back to Bellator at this point?
I don't believe so. I don't. This is my opinion. I don't believe so. I think I understand what they're trying to do. I understand that they want to get these ratings, get these eyes on the TV screens when they have these fights. But at the same time, I think right now, with the way that the sport is going, the direction that the sport is going in, people want to see young faces. People want to see young talent. They want to see guys get built up, and they don't want to see so much these older guys that have built their legacies and had their time, kind of fall apart in front of everybody on TV. They don't want to see those things. They want to see, guys like me who are trying to build their careers and come up. And if Rampage was to come back, I feel like that would be, in my opinion, would be an unfortunate thing for Bellator.
That's Will Brooks. Have a great rest of your training camp, man. Say hi to your fiance for me. Take care, man. I can't wait to talk to you. We're definitely going to talk after this fight and kind of see how the game plan went and how you actually felt inside there when you were retaining your belt.
Definitely. Sounds good, man. Thank you very much. Take care.